Happy Monday. I know it's Monday. It's a long day, but it's going to be a great week ahead. Listen, I listen to everything around me. And if you guys don't know who I am, I'm Fidelis Noka II. I am a CEO, the founder of the Alkalign Lifestyle Institute for Quantum Healing. And many of these things that I'm seeing going on in the collective, I call it the collective mediocre because the people's minds are mediocre in the collective consciousness. Listen to what I'm saying about relationships right now. Many people are talking about relationships and they don't have one. Okay? I want you guys to understand how this works. You have a bunch of people talking about relationships who don't have one. So the people who are talking about relationships who don't have one, you should not be listening to them because of the simple fact they do not have what they're speaking about. There is I won't say an epidemic in what's going on in relationships, but if you realize that this is all predicated upon your energy, and nobody is talking about an energetic perspective on why your relationship sucks. I'm going to get into it right now, and I'm going to basically go through the process of saying my own relationship, because I have one that was not perfect, that was not great, that is greater now, today, because of the changes that I've made and systems that I've built, and the change in awareness that I've had, and also helped the other person. You guys are consuming too much dumbass content from dumbass people who are all single, unhappy, bitter, and angry. And there's a reason why you're angry in your own relationship. I'm not. I used to be. Okay? And I'm going to basically explain this from a level of how we teach in the alkaline lifestyle. It's predicated upon an alkaline diet combined with alignment of your seven chakra energy centers wheels. There's nine wheels, seven chakras. You have to align each center of energy and then also feed the body the energy to do that job. So I'm going to express to you all how this works. Now, you have seven chakras, okay? Your seven chakras. What are they? They are your root at the bottom, at the base of your ankles, beginning at your ankles, at your knees, then at your genitals. Then you have the sacral, which is actually a bone. Sacral bone is the one that's at the bottom, the flat on the base of your spinal cord. Then the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, which is essentially the thyroid. Then you have your third eye. Then you have your crown, your pituitary, and your pineal gland. Your heart is actually the thymus gland. Your throat is the thyroid gland. Solar plexus is going to be a combination of your stomach, your liver, your pancreas. Okay, that's going to be in your gut. Sacral, you'll see it as your adrenals, your intestines, the areas that water is heavy, and then you'll have your testes and your ovaries at the root, combined with your inguinal lymph nodes at your knees and at your ankles. That's what your chakras are. They're areas where there's organs and glands that are spinning, where energy flows up. What's the energy? You're breathing, right? If you're not breathing, then you would be talking or listening to me speak right now. So the energy comes from the breath, the spirit, the breath. We're all connected through our breathing. Now, in the case of relationships, I'll tell you just how simplistic this is. You have the first three chakras. Those are energy consumers. They consume your energy to do a process. Okay? Your first chakra, like I said, your base of your spine, your testes, your ovaries in the front, but also in the back, because your chakras go from the front to back. It's called the coccyx plexus. That's the area at the base of your spinal cord. In women, it's straight. In men, it curves forward. Okay, that's like the area where you see this intertwine of all the nerve endings of your spinal cord. That's the base of your spine. What is the root supposed to do? The root controls your survival. The area of the root controls your survival. So think of it as the base of you having self-preservation. You, in orientation to your own self, preserving yourself. That's what this area of the root is for. So that's why it's at your ankles, that's why it's at your knees. Because you need to be able to survive. So you need to be able to run, to fight, and then to hide. You need your feet and your knees to be able to run away. Preservation again. Okay? Now, this is the issue. The issue is its stability, its grounding, its physical health, its prosperity, its trust. I'll say it again: stability, grounding, physical health, prosperity, and trust. Think about this in terms of relationships. You need stability, you need grounding, you need physical health, you need prosperity, you need trust in relationships. So, first off, if your root is not energized properly, what happens to you literally in response to somebody else? You are going to display a lack of stability, grounding, physical health, prosperity, and trust. These are simplistic universal rights, and this right at your root chakra is the right for you to be here, to be alive, to have things. You realize that there's so many women saying, I don't have the right to be here. There's so many men saying, I don't have the right to be here, saying, I don't have the right to have things. I don't have the right to have happiness. I don't have the right to have prosperity. They're looking at each other doing this. But here's what I'm expressing to you all, that the self is a reflection. So when you have your partner is in correspondence going to tell you what you are expressing outward to the universe. They're just there as a mirror. They wouldn't talk to you that way if you didn't feel that way. They wouldn't respond to you that way if that's not what you were putting out in the first place. That's what they're there for. So for you to get angry makes no sense. Because here's the developmental stage. This area of your root chakra is developed from the time in the womb of your mother to 12 months. The womb of your mother to 12 months. So while you're in the womb, which is about 9 months, to while you're out the womb for about a year, you have this time to develop these areas. What's the demon? I just did a video on the demon of the chakras. What's the demon of the root chakra? Fear. Once you get afraid, there's going to be a problem. There's going to be a problem when you get afraid. And here's the other issue. There's elements to this. Okay, there's elements to this. Meaning you have what's called the platonic solids. You have earth, you have fire, you have air, you have water, you have ether. We're breathing in the ether. We all get it. Okay, you eat from the earth, you breathe the air, you drink the water. You see what I'm saying? And the fire is actually within your belly. You create the fire. So here are the characteristics when you have too much in the root. You have heaviness, you have sluggish behavior, you have monotony, you have obesity, because that's what heaviness is. You have hoarding, you have materialism, you have greed. When you are so rooted in the goal of saying, I need to be here, I need to have things, I guarantee you're going to be overweight. I guarantee you're going to be sluggish. I guarantee you're going to be heavy. And you're going to be greedy and you're not going to be giving. Now, if you aren't giving, what's that mean? Relationships mean give in order to receive. You ain't giving nobody shit. You ain't giving nobody nothing. You quit on yourself, so you damn sure gonna quit on them. I'm telling you from an energetic perspective of how this works. So stop listening to everybody talk on podcasts about stop. This is an alchemical process. Okay? You take the chemicals in, you create the chemicals from your own pharmacy that you make for you to be unconditionally loved by yourself and then truly be happy with yourself. Then you can be happy with somebody else. When you're deficient in this area of the root, you're fearful, you're undisciplined, you're restless, you're underweight, and you're spacey. You can't remember a damn thing. Think about how much this impacts your relationship. Honey, I told you to go to the store to get, oh, hey, I'm sorry, or you come back, where were you last night? Oh, I just forgot to tell you I had stopped by some. Uh, it's it's all predicated based upon your energy. That's your root. That's just the root. I got two more before I even get to the heart. The second one's going to be your sacral. Your sacral, this is literally at the area of your abdomen. Again, it's next to your genitals, your lower back, your hips, your sacral bone, and the back and the base of your spine. This is going to control the sexuality, the passion, the pleasure of life, your emotions. Why can't you control your emotions? Because your second area, your second energy center is not thriving. On the contrary, it's the complete opposite of thriving. There's no fluidity, and that's the goal. The goal of your sacral, fluidity, pleasure, healthy sexuality, feeling. How many individuals, especially in the brown skinned people, African American people, grew up in slavery times? Because you know what's funny? Y'all may think that you aren't slaves, but you're still a slave. 400 years of slavery is inside your cells. It doesn't go nowhere unless you get it out. So you probably eat a slave diet, think like a slave. And so now all the anger that you got pent up inside of you, women especially, because women were very much mistreated, but men also were completely mistreated. Both. I guarantee. So now you have guilt on one side if you're white. Now you have slave on the opposite side if you're brown skinned, dark skinned. My shirt is black. I'm not black. I'm brown. So I don't know where that shit still comes from, but they still say it today. Okay. Those issues, your sexuality and your emotions, you need to understand that this is not preservation anymore. Now it's self gratification. You aren't even grateful for yourself. Self gratification is dismissed. What are the rights that you have at your sacral? You have the right to feel, the right to want things. Everybody should want things. That's why you're here. You only here for a short amount of time. It's like a blip on the radar. You need to enjoy yourself while you're here. But many people have bad attitude. Men and women both. Men are complaining about women's attitudes, women complain about men's attitudes. So you just get further and further away from each other. At this stage of development, this is 6 months to 2 years of age. And I talk a lot about subconscious programming. You guys can check my YouTube channel out if you guys are interested. I talk a whole lot about energy, subconscious programming. If you're an entrepreneur, celebrity, athlete, whatever you are, executive, whatever you are, doesn't matter who you are. Nobody's abstained from this. Okay, this controls your emotional identity. The root controlled your physical identity. So now here's why women especially cannot control their emotions. And let me tell you now, this is chemical. So I'm gonna give you guys some tips at the end of this and then tell you just how you're affecting your own self. And I'll give you my personal story as well. The demon of this sacral chakra, the second area, is guilt. How many of you were walking around with shame and guilt and fear? Because shame's going to be up next. Right now, we're talking about guilt. Why are you guilty for wanting to have a better life? Why are you guilty for wanting to have a bigger house? Why are you guilty for wanting to have a better body? Why are you guilty? Why you feel guilty? You should want and desire to be better, the best version of yourself. You should want to be. You should want and desire to be better. Here is what happens when you have an excessive second energy center. You're overly emotional. Let me tell you, my mom was overly emotional, so I don't know how my father was able to do it. And my parents were divorced in 2004. I'll talk about that as well. You have poor boundaries set. You're a sex addict, addicted to sex. You have obsessive attachments, and this is where you start to say, "I'm clingy. I have to have this thing in order for me to do this thing. I have to have this mask in order for me to go. I have to wear this mask around so people can accept me. I have to hold this way of being. If I don't have this thing, I'm not pretty." I'm telling you guys what you can see is in your daily life. Because I know every person's going through this process. Because this is a collective, it's in my head. So I know when I quiet my mind and I meditate on these things, the collective is saying this. It ain't just me. Now, if you're deficient in your sacral chakra, second energy center, you're frigid, you're impotent, you're rigid. You have no flexibility at all. It's my way or the highway. It has to happen like this. It has to be like that. It has to be like this. Or you're wrong. You're wrong. Speaking on laws, like it's universal laws. It's not universal laws. It's just you. You made up those laws. There's natural laws, and it's laws that you make. There's truth that is universal truth, and then there's what you call your truth, which does not actually exist. We live in 3D. So 3D, third dimension perspective, is all subjective. I can make it up as I go along. But if I plant a seed inside the ground and I water it adequately, and the sun comes up and the sun goes down, and the sun comes up and the sun comes down, after about a week or two or maybe a month, I'll start to see some seeds that open up and they start to have some sprouts coming out. That's a natural law. The planet does that for me. You see, there's the world, which is inside my head, subjective, and there's the planet. We all share the planet. My perspective, solely what I believe, that's based upon the world that I'm in. So you feel emotionally numb, fearful of pleasure. How many men and women both are fearful of pleasure? What's wrong with y'all? I'm telling y'all, y'all have a deficiency, or you have an excessive. If you feel guilty in the least bit, check what happened to you from 6 months to 2 years of age. Go back and check your patterning. Because up next, this is going to be the one that breaks you. Up next is your solar plexus. Your solar plexus, this controls what? Your power and your will. Oh, this is it. Because every interpersonal relationship, you can see what happens in terms of a dispute is it called a power struggle. There's a concept in Alfred Adlerian psychology. He studies teleology, not Sigmund Freud and etiology. It's not cause and effect. He studies what causes the effect, meaning what's the purpose, what's the end goal. He believes that everyone lives life based upon an end goal. Same thing as my philosophy. I believe everyone lives life based upon an end goal. So you have a base of power and will, and this comes from your gut, the liver, the stomach, the pancreas. These areas control your self definition. Who do you define yourself as? Call it your ego if you want. It's controlled by your gut. The goals of this area are vitality, which is energy, spontaneity, strength of will, purpose, self esteem. If you have high self esteem, if you have a strong purpose, you're going to keep moving yourself forward to achieve those goals. If you have a high strength of will, you can will yourself to do anything that you want because you know who you are, you know from whose you are. And here is what's called the right to act. Now, prior, you had the right to be here, the right to have things, then the right to feel things, the right to want things. Then you have the right to act now, the right to get up and do something, take action. You don't get anything if you don't take action. So, in your relationship, if you want love, you need to actually provide the act of love. You don't fall in love with anybody. Did nobody tell you how this thing works? You choose to love somebody. And it starts by choosing to love yourself. Take the actions that show your unconditional love for yourself, and then you can go out there and say, I love you. You can't tell nobody you love you and you're fat. You can't tell nobody you love you and you're excessively skinny. You have eating disorder. You have problem of some kind, autoimmune issue. You don't love nobody because you ain't loving yourself. So don't say you love somebody because you lying. Yes, I'm the guy you can call me the villain. I don't give a fuck what you call me. I don't care. I'm just telling you the truth because most people don't actually get to hear it. Okay, so from 18 months to 4 years of age, this is where you develop your ego identity. Prior, you had your physical identity and you had your emotional identity. Right now, you're having your ego identity. And this demon of this center of energy is going to be shame. So much shame circulating around everyone. So much shame. Lack of forgiveness, but so much shame. This element is fire. Now, at the root, you have the earth, which is why you need to be connected to the earth, which is why you got to go outside. You can go to be grounded, connected to the earth. The second center was water. At the area of digestion, at the area of cleansing yourself, you need water. You need to get up and drink some water. Make sure you have enough adequate water so that you can wipe away and flush anything out that's not serving you. That's why having adequate water is right. And now we have the fire, stomach acid. It should be able to disintegrate anything that goes inside of it. But most people's stomach acid is not working correctly. Now, here's where you start to see people with excessive characteristics in the third chakra. They're dominating, they're controlling, they're aggressive, they're scattered all over the place, and they're constantly active. They're doing something. They think that they can't sit still ever because if you have energy, you have to use it, which is not true. Sometimes you should just be sitting still, listening to yourself, being still, knowing that you are God. That is a really important thing for you all to practice meditation. Just sitting still, don't do anything. Sit still, close your eyes, and just look right where my finger is at. Just keep this right here. Touch the area of your forehead if you need to, and you just close your eyes and see whatever's coming to you and start writing. Take a pen. It's called sitting for ideas. Take a pen while you're doing this process, start writing it all out. Because you all have dominating, controlling, aggressive behaviors. I'm telling you, I know I did. I know I did. I know I had an imbalance. And then I also had the deficient side, which was weak will. I couldn't stay disciplined. I had low self esteem, poor self esteem. I was passive. Who's passive aggressive in here? That means you literally have both deficiency and excession. Sluggish, fearful. Literally, these three centers of energy from your time in the womb to 4 years of age are programming you subconsciously. And this is why you behave like children in your relationship. You can't even communicate. I'm telling you this from personal experience. I have a partner. I was married for 6 years before I got divorced from my partner, which who I'm actually still with today, because I didn't understand until she was honest with me how badly her chemicals were off, imbalances off. She had no idea that this wasn't even a thing. What happened, and I'll give you many instances. First thing I can remember is we were just starting our journey of being entrepreneurs. We had our own company together. I think it was 3 years ago. We're in Malibu, California. We don't have a place to stay. We're basically homeless, living outside of our car. She leaves me on the side of the road and goes back to her parents' house because she doesn't want to pursue entrepreneurship anymore. She's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Just quits. Got no idea why she's doing any of this. I have no idea what's going on inside of her head. Finally, I get her to be honest about her upbringing. Tell me about how her parents behaved. Well, like I just told you, you have three rights: the right to be here, which is basically the right to have life, the right to feel, which is basically the right for you to feel that you want something, and then the right to act. Well, her parents didn't allow for her to do that because most of the time she told me they were walking on eggshells in their house. And my house is completely different. Now, my parents are divorced, but my mom is live. So when you hear my mom, you're going to hear from a mile away. You're going to hear the laughter. You're going to hear everything. You're going to hear a welcoming, uh, a kind person that draws you in, but we were free to be able to speak. I didn't have anything that blocked me from being able to express myself. My partner, completely opposite. So if you grew up in that kind of place, you probably grew up with a person that was controlling you or dominating you from a place that you didn't even know happened. So all of a sudden now in your relationship, if you never got to express yourself, it's because the chemicals inside of your body were so deficient, misaligned. You ate too much processed food. You ate too much meat. You ate too much dairy. They lied to you. You don't get calcium from milk, from cow's milk. You don't get calcium from cow's milk. It strips your bones of calcium. You don't know this type of stuff because why would they tell you that? Who's they? You can talk about society if you want to, but why would they tell you any of this that I'm telling you right now? So, what happens to a person in a relationship if you don't have these things? Calcium is one of the major cell salts because combined with fluoride, phosphate, sulfate, these things control literally the platonic solids of water and earth. If you don't have calcium, I guarantee digestion's off, your bones are off, your blood purification is off. Cell salt, cell salt, yeah, platonic solids. Iron phosphate, that's also a platonic solid for water. That's going to be in the second energy center. The third, which is potassium, potassium phosphate. Think about potassium. You get it from bananas, sweet potatoes. This is going to be fire for your belly. Nerve health, it aids your memory, it relieves your headaches. Your gut controls your mood. So if you're in a bad mood, what'd you eat? You drink any alcohol? Oh, I guarantee you angry. Because that's who controls that part? Your liver. Your liver has to now cleanse your blood because you put in toxicity right through the solar plexus that affects all 12 cranial nerves inside your body. What does that mean? All 12 of your body's 12 systems: endocrine system, lymphatic system, reproductive system, cardiovascular system, respiratory system. These are all systems inside of your gut. They're all controlled through your gut. So if you walking around in a bad mood, and you come home and your husband is in a bad mood, your wife is in a bad mood, I promise you, she went to Starbucks, she has some caffeine. Caffeine is it's called an adenosine blocker. What's that mean? Adenosine triphosphate is where you can create energy. You can't create energy if you got some fake energy in place of it. It burns itself out. You don't have nothing. So now you're stopping the natural processes that you are supposed to have. Caffeine, literally, coffee is an enema. It's supposed to put that inside your anus in order to help you poop. It's not for you to go to Starbucks and go in there and start passing something and they just start sipping on it all day long. You can sip on it if you want to, but I guarantee you it's not going to be clean. Not in this country. We don't regulate that type of stuff. I'm just telling you how this works. Y'all may not believe it. I don't really give a fuck. I'm just telling you how this actually works. Sodium sulfate, literally. Taurines. I'm a Taurus. Cleanses your pancreas, cleanses your kidney, cleanses your liver. Cell salt. Every day I get up, I take 12 in 1 mineral cell salts. My two herbal formulas, Awaken and Replenish. You guys can go to my website. You guys check it out right now. I have the ingredients on listed on all of them that show you the herbs that I use, adaptogens that I use. But also the main point is you have Shilajit. You have things like binders. You have things like 12 brilliant cell salts, and also you have things like Silvestrio sound frequencies that power up your vibration. Most people are vibrating so low, they don't know they're vibrating so low that they walk into a room and they make the room dark. They make the room sad. You don't understand why you're doing that because literally you're thinking, well, if I have all these different things of expression, I'm holding on to this different body armor the entire time. I'm thinking of myself as this person and this person and this person, and it shows in my armor, in my energetic armor. You're armored. You're walking around and you're tense. You're walking around and you don't realize that you have seven rights. First off, the right to be here. Second of all, the right to feel. Third of all, the right to act. And if you can't light these first three up, the fourth one, which is the right to love, you ain't got no right to love. If you can't pass the energy from the first three to be here, I want to be here, to feel however I feel about anything, okay, to act on whatever I desire to act upon. You don't love if you can't do those three things, you don't love yourself. So therefore, the the right to love, you don't even have that right. You don't believe you have that right because you haven't taken care of the first three. So here's why you're so angry. I was left on the side of the road, found my partner. She was my spouse at the time. We didn't get divorced until 2023, finalized 2024. And then finally I was like, listen, you have a problem and I can help you. And if I can help you, if you let me help you, then you'll change. But if you don't want to change, you're never gonna see me again in your lifetime. We don't have no kids, man. We got two pit bulls. Splitting up dogs is difficult, and I love my dogs, but I would have let her have both of them, just so they don't get split up. But I had a problem with don't just accept how you're being, not realizing that it's your chemistry that is causing you a problem. Your first areas of energy are going to be the first two. Those first two are going to be your emotional identity, your physical identity. And then in the area of your egoic mind, which is going to be your self definition, how you're defining yourself, you realize that all these sad, low vibrations are affecting your gut. When you have a problem, autoimmune disease issues especially, you have two areas on inside of your brain: parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system. It's called the autonomic nervous system. Things that go on autopilot. Your heartbeat, your breathing, your blood sugar regulation, your blood pressure regulation. Okay, whenever you sneeze, whenever you cough, these things are all automatic processes. Digestion, automatic process. But you have to be in a certain state of mind in order to do these things. So if you're in fight or flight mode, sympathetic. If you're in rest and digest, parasympathetic. If you are ready to think about this, intimacy, physical intimacy, you can't have sex with your partner if you're in sympathetic resonance because you're in survival mode. You think that you don't have the right to be here. You don't have the right to have life, to have freedom. There will be no intimacy. I guarantee it. Men, I'm just telling you, no intimacy. Women, I'm telling you, no intimacy. So wrap that up because that's over with. No energy. You know why? No energy in the visceral organs right here in the center line to process what you've been eating, which is probably not even food in the first place. Can't take any energy from it. And the lack of hydration because stress is caused by dehydration. Okay? From the womb to 4 years of age, you've been programmed already subconsciously by your mother. Ask your mom when you were pregnant with me, how was your relationship? Was she fighting every day? Was she divorced? Was she a single mom? Oh, she was living in stress. And you came out of the womb with the same software program subconsciously to be living in stress. That's why you're living in stress. You have to actually become aware that that's the problem. It doesn't mean that because your mom got cancer, you're going to get cancer. No, it just means that you have a problem, meaning your process and your pattern of living is the same thing as her. So you'll end up that way because you did it. My mom's type 2. My father had a heart valve transplant. My sister was actually going to med school and she was diagnosed with depression. My mom was bipolar. I'm fine. I got no of those issues. I don't eat no dairy food. I don't eat no meat. I don't do any of that shit. And I was born in Lafayette, Louisiana, in the deep south. You can call it deep south, central Louisiana. It was in the south. They ate crawfish, they ate sausage, po' boys, boudin, all that trash, garbage, slave, gumbo, which is slave. It's not a delicacy. It's slave garbage. So then it affects your mind. It affects how you are. It affects how you behave. And you just keep carrying over the same exact mood, the same attitude, the same ignorance, not knowing, the same stupidity, which is being wowed by everything. That's all it means. You just carry it over from one person to the next, all because you did not go in to change your chemistry. So now you go into your relationship and you just fighting. You fighting up a storm. You just fighting everything. Fighting everything. No trust. You know why you don't trust? You don't trust yourself. If you actually want to improve your life, what do you do to improve your life? You make a plan. You make a plan, you execute the plan. That's called faith. If there's no actual faith, you don't actually do anything. You just sit still. Because you know why? Again, the right to act was in the third center, inside your gut. Whereas people who are lazy and fat and overweight, they sit there and they lay on the couch. And are they don't go to the gym, or they just sit there and they just don't do anything. I'm just telling y'all the truth. And I've never been fat or overweight, but I've seen people who around me who were very close to me, who were. My partner, she was only about 5 foot 3 inches tall, literally, little tiny 5 foot 3 inch tall, Caucasian lady, second Caucasian woman I've ever dated in my lifetime. Out of the 20 something women I've dated, gained 15 pounds in about a year's time, 20 pounds in about a year's time. Her normal weight is 130 pounds. She gained 20 pounds. Didn't know what the hell was going on with her. Beautiful person, aesthetically, but I damn near gave up. And I said, you know what? I got no problem being divorced. I don't care. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're purple. I don't care what color you are. It's the same thing for everybody. It doesn't matter. I'm just telling y'all the truth. I've had African American. I've had, well, I'm not Indian, but I've had pretty much every nationality that you can think of until I actually became aware of someone's personal habits and their culture. And brown-skinned people in this country, we have a really self-betrayal type of culture. We lie a lot to ourselves every day. We don't listen to ourselves internally. We don't make time to listen to ourselves. We blast our music. There's too much pharmaceutical drug. There's too much weed smoke. There's too many things for you to go run to instead of running to yourself to tell the truth. If you never made it a point to tell yourself the truth, I suggest you start doing it now today and living in the truth. Not your truth. Your truth is a lie. The truth, natural law. There's 7 universal laws. The first law is everything is mind. That's at the top. Mentalism, everything is mind. Pituitary gland tells you how to feel. HPAA axis, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. It tells you how to feel. It releases your chemicals, your hormones that you need to balance out your body based upon how you feel. Feeling is your prayers. If you need to know how to pray, go to my website. You guys can check out my YouTube channel. I have a video that says how to pray. Look it up. I encourage you guys to check it out. Next is going to be correspondence, your third eye. What's corresponding to you is going to be a reflection of yourself and what you're putting out. So if your partner is cursing at you, you're cursing at them. Whether it's actually verbal cursing at them, you're doing it energetically in your imagination. Because people who have this pent up anger and rage with the passive aggressive behavior, you're still bad. You're still angry. Oh, I'm telling you, she was angry. Not at me. I didn't do shit to her. She was angry at herself because she doesn't know why she feels that way. I don't know why I feel like this. I don't know. Crying. I don't know what. I don't understand. Okay, sit down. That was me. Because I used to get punched in the face. I used to get yelled at, not punched in the face physically, but energetically. Okay? I used to get ridiculed, talked down to, talked crazy to. All of that stuff happened to me. I was so weak. I'm just telling y'all, you men, step it up. You can't be weak. Because what happens if you become acidic, men, you become too much estrogen inside of you. Women, when you become acidic, too much testosterone. You become too damn manly, yelling and cursing and screaming at everybody like crazy. You have to balance it out, not raising yourself so far alkaline. You have to just become neutral so that you can then be able to see both sides again. I have masculine, feminine. Women have masculine, feminine. My partner did too. Once I raised my masculine behavior up, she was able to balance it out because she had to. If she didn't balance it out, she ain't gonna fight me. You can't take no for an answer sometimes. Sometimes you shouldn't walk away and quit. That's what I told her. And I was fine with it. I don't care. I told her. I said, you need to learn about African American history before you date a black man. What's wrong with you? That's real. So if you're in an interracial relationship, tell your partner to learn about the other culture. I know about European and Caucasian and African American, and pretty much every culture that's on this damn planet. She sure as hell did not know about me. She's from the Midwest. The Midwest is actually the South because the Mississippi River goes from the South to the Midwest. Information is carried by water. She didn't know anything about it. Once I was able to give her my two herbal formula for the duration of about a year and a half's time. She's still going on it right now. She changes her entire blood chemistry. She purifies her blood, but she also reseeds her microbiome. Your gut microbiome is what controls your mood. So if you're in a bad mood every day, all day, you got to check what you're putting in. I suggest you stop your process and you detoxify yourselves together. Don't one person detox, another person does not do that. Do it at the same time. Because what happens is one person's going to raise their vibration so high that now you're not going to be in resonance anymore, no longer on the same frequency. So you have to find a way back to that order, to that place. You have to cleanse yourself at the same time. Then what's being communicated outwardly, energetically through the field, will be communicated to both of you in a wheel so that now it's going to be spinning. That's how it works. That's why you're so angry in your relationship. You're feeling so out of touch because you're living in the past. My parents did this to me. My mom treated me like this. My dad treated me like that. I wasn't allowed to be myself. I wasn't allowed to be authentic. I wasn't allowed to speak my mind. I wasn't allowed to pursue things that I enjoyed, all because of my culture and where I grew up in the community that I was in the village. Talks about it. It takes a village. Fuck no, it takes God. That's what it takes. It takes God. God is what you. Your children don't belong to you. Your children belong to God. Call it whatever you want. The universal mind, collective consciousness, whatever you want to call it, but it's God. The universe, God. Your children belong to God. They use you as a tunnel, as a bridge from this dimension that they were in to this dimension that they're in right now to live this life experience that they're going through right now under the eyes of God, not you. They ain't living for your ass. Let them be. That's a big thing for people to understand because you will sit there and you will think that your body is contracted and compressed. And why are you feeling so separate? Why do you feel like you can't bond with your spouse or your soulmate? Or you have this because you have this bad sense of nurturing because you didn't have any nurturing. You didn't have any of that stuff. So you have mechanical movement. You're not fluid in your walk. You're a woman that can't sway her hips. She walks like a fucking man. I'm telling you, my partner was the same way. She had muscles, was fit, trim. Like, why are you walking like a man? Yo, you gotta change this. I'm telling you. So it was always gonna be a quarrel because I'm in the masculine, because I'm a man in a masculine, and she's in the masculine, and she's a woman. It was completely imbalanced. So I just finally said, hey, look, either you figure this one out, or we can't even sit in the same room with each other. Figure out what you want to do. She finally figured that one out. Literally, she figured that one out. And she said, you know what? I'd rather have you than not have you. I already divorced you because I wanted to divorce myself, but I didn't know how else to do it. I didn't want to put you through anything else, and I just didn't know what to do. I said, don't worry about it. There's a formula for everything. So once she was able to find a continuous reward system through our philosophy that we created, she's a plant-based chef, biological plant-based chef. Last 8 years, we've both been plant-based. Thankfully, because of her. That's why I'm pretty much with her, is because she changed my diet to a biological plant-based diet. I've been eating plant-based for the last 8 years, and I love it. It's changed my life. And I've been meditating for the last 6 years. Love it. Changed my life. I've been taking herbal formulas for the last four and just over 4 years. Love it. Changed my life. Creating formulas, pathways for people to be the best version of themselves. I love it. Changed my life. Found a good purpose in it. I love it. But I'm realizing that when you have the doubting the right to be here, the right to exist, you want to commit suicide. That's an imbalance in the root chakra. When you feel like when your feelings are distorted or irregular, again, balance, that's an imbalance of the sacral chakra. Whenever you are downward current, you have this downward spiral and you're weak, you have no focus, you can't concentrate. That's an imbalance inside your gut. And people fake it in their gut. They try to act like they're lots of energy, boastful, loud, powerful. No, you're faking it. You're wearing a mask. People do it with their partners all the time. Talk over them, interrupt them. You don't listen to them. Just sit your ass down and listen to what you got to say. Sit your ass down and listen to what he got to say. It works. Just the feeling of being heard works. You know, when you're out of touch, when you have this same part where you're out of touch and you feel you can't have sensations inside your body, that's an out of touch way of being. Trauma in utero. Your mom had trauma. Trauma doesn't actually really exist. If you got hit, car accident, that's trauma. If you had emotional retention when you're holding on to emotion, that's on you. Let it go. Forgive and let it go. There's some reasons why you're angry in your relationship. I just wanted to give you guys an energetic overview. You guys can check out my YouTube channel. Click a link in my profile. You'll see my link tree. You guys can check out my herbal formulas because I'm telling you right now, the only way for you to actually achieve happiness is to chemically process it. Chemically. Once you do it chemically, that's a lasting forever change because life is an alchemical process. I'm an alchemist. Alchemist. That's what ancient origin chemist. Alchemist. Alchemy. Your entire life, you're processing these chemicals. You need to go towards the light. When you achieve the light body, watch in excess. You don't care about what anybody thinks about you. You only care about what you can do for the rest of the people. That's it. So, if you guys liked this presentation real quick, subscribe to my channel, check out my YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube. Again, check out my one-on-one coaching. I have a membership site coming up to be done by today, actually. You guys can lock in with me and sign up for my newsletter that I do have coming out once a week, preferably every Monday. I have it coming out every Monday. Talks about some new research, things that are going on in the energy space, in the quantum world. And other than that, let's get your relationships back to where you have unconditional love and gratitude and appreciation for your own self. That's the ultimate goal. All right? Thank y'all for rocking with me today. Love y'all. Peace.